Hello, and welcome to the very first primary tactic discussion with our Nerf Herder crew. So I'm Brian Baer.
I'm Nathan Minor Tom.
And I'm John Bushfax Bushman.
With the finger guns.
And we're going to go over our primary objective of Payload, which is one of the newer objectives that we just was released, within the last 3 months now?
Something like that.
Yeah, recently. And so there's a lot of folks who may not have got as much practice with this one yet. I mean, you may have had more practice with it than us and have cool ideas that we may not be hitting. And we may say stuff that you totally disagree with. And that's all good.
You're allowed to be wrong. That's fine.
Yeah. We'll only judge you silently.
Yeah. We're not going to pretend to know all the answers. We're just going to try to share some of our knowledge with our experience, even though it may be limited in this respect. But we all have generally a good understanding of how to obtain POIs, how to obtain VPs during a game, and especially how to chase down ones that move. And that's going to be a big part of this one. And so
I'm excited.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to, for those of you who are joining us through video, you'll be able to see that we're going to have the map of the payload objective up, and we're actually going to be drawing on it. For those audio listeners, we're going to try to articulate where we're talking. If you're not able to follow with our motions and our drawings, we're going to hopefully make it clear enough to where you can follow easily on the discussion and the tactics that we're going to be delving into today. So first of all, we kind of want to talk about. Let me get it. I'll read the objective here. So payload. The setup is to place 3 bomb carts, which are POIs. That's the 2-inch discs that are shown around on all the objectives. As shown on the payload card map. Let's see, scoring. You start in the second round, like most primary objectives. Primary care. my nurse practitioner.
Work brain.
Yeah. So most primary objectives start scoring on round 2. So this one is also scoring round 2. During each end phase, players score 1 VP for each bomb cart that they secure. Then after that, the players take turns. This is interesting because some primary objectives and secondary objectives, you don't take turns. This one specifies that you actually take turns moving the POI cards.
I think this is only the second one where you take turns.
I think so.
What's the other one where you take turns?
Shifting.
Oh, you take turns on shifting. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so then players take turns placing each bomb cart they secured that is not in enemy territory within half range of its current position. Starting with the blue player, each bomb cart may be placed this way only once per round. After all bomb carts, if any, have been placed, player scores 2 VPs for each bomb cart that is within enemy territory. Now, within doesn't mean that the POI has to be fully within, because there's a difference between within and fully within in terms of how the rules are interpreted by the rule givers.
Completely within, right? Is the other
completely within?
Yes, completely within. So completely within means the POI is all the way in the deployment, and there's none of it outside of the deployment. Within means a partial of that POI can be in your deployment. So this means if any part of that POI token is touching your enemy's deployment, you will get the extra VPs.
And the order of operations is important here. I will talk more about scoring numbers in a second, but you move it. So you score it for securing, then you move it, then you see if it's inside.
Oh,
and then that determines if you get the 2 points, which is very important. Another little caveat is that second scoring is independent of the first part. So let's say you successfully move a bomb cart into your opponent's territory, so it's within, so it's overlapping. And then you would get a point for moving it, and then you get 2 points for getting it there. That's 3. And then let's say on the next round, your opponent tries to fight you back and steal it back from you, and you guys tie on it. No one gets the point for securing. but it's still in your opponent's zone. So you actually would still get 2 points even if you're not securing it.
Yeah, it's a loaded gun once it's in there. It's ticking time bomb.
Yep, and it's racking up those points.
Repeated time bomb.
John, we were talking about this before. Do you want to go through like how many moves it takes to get each one?
I was zoned out when you guys were talking about that. I don't have that memorized at all.
This guy.
I was setting up. All right.
You were.
You're good. Take us away, Brian.
Yeah. So there are the POIs are they're a diagonal across the map, right? You have a near side. If you're a blue player, actually, I guess both players, but there's a near side on your left. There's the middle that's exactly in the middle, and then there's a far side which is on your right, closer to your opponent's deployment. And in order to get my near side all the way across the board to my opponent's deployment zone, it would take 3 moves or three movements of the POIs, and that's assuming there's no terrain in my way. So if the middle objective, it takes about 2 moves to get it to their deployment, and on their far one, the one that's furthest away from me but closest to my opponent, it only takes 1.
And the one that's closest to you has the least amount of wiggle room. So you say, right, your near objective, it takes 3 moves to get there. You have about an inch of wiggle room, which is not a lot. So if you have to go diagonally around a big piece of terrain, it might take 4 moves instead of 3 moves to get all the way across. The one in the middle has about 2 inches of wiggle room. So a little bit more, but not a ton. The one on your opponent's side that's far from you, that only takes 1 move, and there's a fair amount of wiggle room there. If even there's a building right in front of you, if you kind of cut off to the side and have to go diagonal, at a 45-degree angle, you're probably still clipping it.
Yeah.
So
what kind of just initially, what kind of lists are you guys thinking would be looking for this as their objective?
This is one where securing matters a ton. Very much like close the pocket, force push is super strong on this. To be able to change the calculus on one of the points can be brutal. So lightsabers, for one, are great. With Master of the Force, more pushes.
Mm-hmm.
I think lightsabers are good for one of the POIs, right? It's interesting because these are spread all the way across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one of them. Almost no lightsaber can influence more than one of these.
Well, can we talk about, even if you're all right with me backing us up a little bit,
Sure.
Even before getting into what's good at it, maybe it makes sense to talk about how we play this first, and then it'll make sense when we talk about what's good at it. I think it'll make sense why. So there's like, all right. So if I say like the vanilla way to play this, what's maybe the expected or the vanilla way.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? I think you guys get what I'm talking about.
Vanilla's pretty easy. Like the vanilla, I'm assuming you're going to push your left side, put maybe 50% of your forces on your home side, which is going to be on your left. And the other 50% is going to be contesting the middle. Perfectly vanilla matchup. The middle's never going to move. You're both going to get your own objective all the way across.
I think that's great. I would caveat, I would probably not do 50-50 unless my opponent's looking to
70-30
set up across from me, right? You definitely, you want to make sure you've got at least as much on the middle as your opponent does. In vanilla, personally, my dream scenario is that my opponent puts like 20% on their own point, and then I'm like, oh, awesome. I'm going to put 10% on my point, and then I can do my 90 to their 80 on the middle. That's like what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to get my opponent to overcommit.
The second they overcommit, then you undercommit.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And that's usually what tips me off that I want to take a quote unquote vanilla strategy is if I see that they've maybe committed strong to their home side a little bit early. That makes me go, oh, I'm really going to underbake my side. I'm just going to bull rush the middle, probably beat them. And then I have 2 POIs that I'm securing and moving into point, and they have 1.
Yeah.
I think that's good. It's important to think about that in terms of list building too, because if you have lower acts, generally your acts are beefier than your opponents, and so you can force them to overcommit a little bit more with your stronger list, or if you have a higher act list, you can wait and be like, all right, now they've committed light on this side, and now with these last 2 acts, I can go hammer that side. And so there's a lot of cat and mouse with setup, which is kind of fun.
It's exactly what you said about the low axe is one thing I can't get myself away from playing the low axe, because you're gonna place 8 of your things, and I've placed 4 or 5 of mine. You've decided a lot more where your commitment is before I have to put really anything out.
The caveat, I think that's a great point, and that's one of the things that's kind of a benefit for low act lists on ones like this, where early committal is so important.
But bodies need to die.
Bodies need to die, and if you're a high activation list and you've got a few really high impact units that you have at the end, like a classic example would be like Grievous Wheelbike or something. That is a sword that you can sort of hang over your opponent, because unless there's something about advanced intel at play, you're going to have the last placement. And so your opponent really has to pause and go, oh man, I'm setting up for this, 10% on my side, 90% on the middle commit. But man, if they're holding Grievous out to the end and they decide to put him on my side and like aggressively go after my point, I'm hosed because I only put 10% of my stuff.
Yeah. Grievous is annoyingly good at exactly that, countering a late weak home side. And
yes,
I'm a little bit scared about that.
Yeah.
Only a little.
You got to watch what your opponent is holding on to and make sure that you're not setting yourself up to get hosed by them placing somewhere you're not expecting.
To use our whiteboard a little bit, I think the nice thing is that you don't have to commit directly onto your home or directly onto the middle, right? You could commit right here.
Yes.
For both of them.
Yeah. And for those audio listeners, John is talking about being halfway between your near objective and halfway between the middle objective.
Those are not that far apart. They're
side.
Not as far apart as like bunker assault is, where it's not going to happen.
Yep. With any speed 2 unit, it's very easy to set it up to a point where it's just a double move, and perhaps, I mean, let me stare at it. Probably not a single move to either one, but definitely you could set it up where it's easy to set it up where you could single move to one of them or double move to the other one if you need to do a quick enough.
Yes, I'd probably say that. Single move to your home one. I mean, if you're contesting that middle one, round 2, that's pretty bold and risky as far as attrition goes. You're likely to be getting shot at a lot.
I think it depends.
It does. It definitely does depend. But that's one spot where high act lists will probably shine, is that they could throw the last activation on it if nothing else has gone on it, and then push it forward, but then pushing it into the beefier, scarier units.
Well, so let's talk about that, because I think that's sort of a natural segue into kind of the second strategy. So let's play out vanilla for a second.
Yeah.
I'm pushing my cart forward on my side. Let's assume my opponent's only fighting for the middle. They're not really pushing back on me there. My opponent's pushing their side. I'm not going to fight them on it. I don't want to divert forces. I want to go after the middle. Let's say I win. Let's say we're sitting across from each other, and let's say I've given up some attrition because I want to aggressively push. So maybe my opponent has more range, but I have more speed or something like that, or I'm a high act list with a lot of low impact, just naked bodies. I run up, I throw them onto the point, but my opponent's sitting back away and they're just shooting me at range. I get the point. Great. I push it forward. What's the issue? Like, what mistake have I possibly just made if I just do the basic thing and just take the objective and just push it forward?
Pushing it into your opponent's units? and now they're securing it.
You're allowing them to shoot you a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right.
Now they can aim shoot.
It's almost similar to shifting priorities there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to pass this objective over to you. You're going to score it next round, and you've shot at me a bunch.
Right. And so this is where it kind of, and so obviously, like, you can see why, well, that doesn't seem that great. Then you're pushing it, but you're potentially pushing it right into your opponent's stuff. So I think this is where you get the potential second strategy, the second sort of game plan for this type of a match, which is, suppose you take it early, you score it, but then instead of moving it forward.
Oh, don't say it. I knew you were going here.
Right? You move it away from your opponent's stuff. Now, okay, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think, oh, you move it backwards towards your own zone. That's risky. I'm not going to say you never do it, but that's risky because you could set yourself up for a spot where your opponent can really aggressively push, and now they get it like in your zone immediately, right? What I kind of favor with this is if you look at the map, right? I'm gonna old man Nathan is going to attempt to use the fancy technology tools, right? Your stuff is here. So I'm for audio listeners, it's by your POI, kind of in your bottom left. You're pushing the POI up kind of near the middle. But now let's say you have other stuff that's over here that's taken the middle. Rather than just pushing it straight back towards yourself and do a risky, I like pushing it to the left. And so the stuff that you have on your left side that's pushing your cart, and the stuff you have in the middle that's pushing the middle, you can kind of bring your armies together.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can converge, and your opponent is most likely going to have all of their stuff on that opposite side between their POI and the middle. So you're still dragging it away from your opponent, but you're not doing it in a way that's quite so risky to yourself. I'd say this way is probably, if I had no other information, I would say this is probably my typical game plan.
It's probably like the if the other was if vanilla was the 101 version, this is probably the 102. I'd say. Right,
and I'd say 102 is more common than 101, I think.
Yeah, it's got more thought put into it for sure.
Yes.
And you're vying for a win rather than a tie.
Yeah, and one thing that we didn't get to yet is board edge is going to be very, very important for this primary. It can be because we were talking before, and we were talking that terrain can directly affect how much you can score this game, because it will, if you're on a side where it's going to take you more moves to get that POI to your opponent's board edge or your opponent's deployment zone, then you're losing out on victory points.
There have been other objectives, including old Payload, where it didn't really matter so long as like how uneven it was, so long as you could both eventually get there. But this one, it absolutely matters because it'll keep scoring every round. So yeah, if you're scoring in round after 3 pushes, you're scoring round 4, and you also get a round 5 score from it being in your opponent's deployment zone, and your opponent only gets it in round 5. That's 2 points. Like, that's not great. And maybe even another point because we're assuming you secured it and just had to take a less direct path. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's one thing you want to consider. If you get to the end of your turn 0 of your battle deck denies and things like that, and you're like, okay, it looks like we could play Payload. If I'm red player, do I decide, do I want to keep this Payload and steal blue player, which would give me a pretty significant advantage on a lot of tables? Or do I not want to play red player as in this scenario? And that's going to be dependent on what you're playing, what list you're playing, and what your opponent is playing. Those are kinds of things you want to be able to consider. And that can kind of take us into what kind of lists you're looking for playing with this kind of objective.
Well, sorry to keep keep putting us up on that. But I think there's one more. There's
Trying
one
so
more
hard.
strategy,
I
right?
know.
Before we jump in to that, I keep Brian's so ready to talk about lists.
I am. I'm ready.
There's the super aggressive way to play this, right?
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is where you make a jump for your opponent's objective.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And this is not as rare as you'd think. Again, we were alluding to it earlier. The
No, I'm
idea
gonna do
of
it every
something
time.
like a Grievous or something, somebody that can get there fast. That's a really powerful strategy. If you successfully execute without obviously giving up your own, right? You don't want to trade. You want to, but I think
trades, you could trade up pretty easily on that too.
well, I mean, ideally, you don't want to lose your own objective and take theirs, right? Because then it's sort of like even. I think ideally. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You keep there are a lot of times, or I've played this a couple times where we go to make that trade. He's pushing my near one into my home, and I'm pushing his near one into his home. But I can lighten up my grip on my home and on that, and I'm able to control the middle and push a bunch into the middle to fix that imbalance.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it really a way to think about it is if you successfully snatch your opponents, that's like the maximum scoring you can possibly farm from a single POI. So if you can just control one of the other ones for the rest of the game, you don't even need to push another one into your opponent's zone, right?
You hit 12 after round 5.
Right.
If you get it round 2, it's 3 points a round just on that one POI.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so
that's not even including secondaries. So
right. 3 secondary points, and it ends before round 5.
Right. If you're doing that and you have one of the other ones, the best your opponent can do is tie you. Right.
Now, in what kind of scenario would you be cautious about doing this tactic?
If they have a Grievous, I'd be very cautious, because Grievous can push this equally as hard. That type of unit is what I'd be worried about.
My concern would be, if I want to be aggressive, do I have the capacity, or does my opponent have the capacity to take a miniature and block my ability to move this thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then the other question is, if that's the case, which most of the time would be a large vehicle, do I have the ability to eliminate that vehicle quickly enough to make sure that this gambit works and doesn't bite me in the butt because it didn't work fast enough?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely something you want to consider, is really in all scenarios, as you're doing math on these POIs and things, you think, okay, does my opponent have a big vehicle? That, like, am I playing my game such that I'm planning on getting this POI into my opponent's zone on round 4 or round 3 or round 2, whatever, pick your round, but I'm going to get delayed around because my opponent has a bust that they're just going to body block me with? Like, you got to factor that in no matter what your game plan is. Like, make sure you're thinking about those cases and that you're like, I've got a way to respond to it, either by I'm going to totally own 2 POIs. And so it doesn't matter if I get delayed by 1 turn, like I'm going to have 2 POIs to their 1, or I'm just going to blow the thing up, right, so quickly that it doesn't affect me too much, which both are valid. I think going back to the question you asked about when are you cautious, like the really big umbrella is, like, is my opponent able to quickly respond to what I'm doing, right?
Speeders.
Are they doing that smart thing
Geos.
where they're deploying in the middle and they have stuff that's maybe a little bit faster than your typical thing? Maybe it's snow troopers with Imperial March, that they're at the spot where they could double move either way and still attack. Do they have speeder bikes, right? So like something that can, like, oh, I was going to go in the middle, but I see that you've infiltrated your Vader and you're trying to hit my home point. Well, now I'm just going to divert all this stuff, and now you're not going to succeed. And now your focus piece is in the wrong spot, fighting a battle that they're not winning.
Now, real quick, when Nathan mentioned snow troopers, you think of snow troopers, and even with Imperial March, you're like, but they're not that fast. Like, yeah, they're a little bit fast with
It's the
Imperial
move
March,
and attack.
but he's talking about the threat range of the
Yes.
of the snows, and that's what he's talking about specifically here. Is that yes, the snows can double move, get on a point, and still get their attack off, which a lot of units can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if most like speed 2 core, right? And if you're thinking like end of round 1, start of round 2 positioning, we were talking about that on this board here, right? Deploying in the spot in the middle where you can move to one or double move to the other. Most things can't move and shoot at the same time. So you're setting yourself up. Let's say you got stormtroopers or whatever. There's going to be one of those that you can't single move to. So if you're having to double move to that, you're not going to be able to attack. It's still good to have the bodies that you can just get like, oh shoot, like Grievous is coming at my point. It's good to be able to just double move somebody there and stop them from scoring. But you don't just want to throw things at the point and let Grievous or Vader or like a Stap flank or whatever just run you ragged. You want to be able to eventually get that thing off of there, right? So things that can get to the point and still attack are really the things that as a defender defending against someone playing aggressive, you want to think about. And as the attacker trying to pull off this aggressive thing, you think, man, how many things do they have that can do that?
I mean, that's every objective, right? Being able to get onto the point and attack, like that's the dream.
Yes.
That's what everyone wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know who does that really, 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 really well?
Saber Tanks.
Pirates.
Hey.
Dread Roberts.
Yep.
Yeah.
You worked him in, Brian.
Yeah. they'll get there again. Well, I mean, I played a game just the other night with APOC, who Ryan. He's one of the players up in Michigan. Very, very talented player, and he was playing a pirate swarm on this objective, and so they'll probably crop up as I talk about it because
Did you get your butt kicked?
I definitely lost. To be honest, it should have been way worse than it was. I don't know what was going on with TTS. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. I probably rolled 70 to 80% white save blocks.
You do that against me every time we play.
So you hacked the JSON is what you did.
I don't know.
You went in there.
If I could do that all the time, then I would never lose TTS.
You asked ChatGPT how to modify it.
Right? Yeah. Oh man, it was rough.
Hey.
Ryan was a good sport because he still won. He still beat me because he definitely outpositioned me. But if I had played a little bit smarter, then it could have been very tilting for him because that would have been very rough.
Yeah, pirates specifically. I assume you mean in the pirate battle force.
In the battle force, because they get relentless when they move on to a POI.
Yeah, relentless on a core unit is strong. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. Particularly relentless on a core unit that can, because generally they can double move into something that is on the POI already, and then shoot something range 2 further on while they're engaged. And they could be like, oh yeah, we're going to go and double move on to this guy, this cool rebel trooper that you just put down there with 2 dodges. We're not even going to worry about attacking him because we're going to blast this other important thing that's range 2 away with this massive attack while we're going to stay safe in melee.
After you spent your AI aim, you're going to get a dodge. From Swashbuckler.
Independent aim.
That's the one.
Yeah.
AI
if only they had AI aim. Might be easier.
They are. They're going to be a problem, but it was interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. We're here, Brian. What's good at this? We talked about things a little bit. Yeah.
So we talked about it. So John mentioned that he likes Saber Tanks. Would definitely be something that you'd be excited to see this. Any sort of large vehicle, I think, is going to love this objective. Not only can you push yours, you can block your opponent from getting to this important POIs. You can block your opponent from pushing POIs. Like there's a lot of good stuff. Now it does make it tough to maneuver depending on the terrain. Sometimes vehicles just don't maneuver as well as you want to with terrain, especially with mobile POIs.
Good.
Your opponent can move the POI in a position that makes it very difficult for your vehicle to be effective, and that's going to happen. But as a general rule, vehicles like this a lot. They like this a lot.
They can get in the way. They can. Most vehicles are pretty fast compared to other units, and so they can do the thing we were talking about, where they could potentially be at 2 different places at once, and they can even sometimes, the big ones can score multiple POIs at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because the way these things move, again, especially if you're doing the kind of that 102 strategy we talked about, where you push yours, you go for the middle, and then you just kind of drag it off to your left toward your own stuff. You're just setting yourself up where you're going to have your Saber Tank or your bus or whatever.
Almost one
right in
move.
the sweet spot and score them both at the same time with one unit. A unit that's usually pretty hard to kill. So that's cash money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I always like playing buses as a rebel player. I am long for the day that a Gav Tank will be usable in the Empire faction, and I have dreams and aspirations to make a Thrawn Veers double Gav list work.
Dude, it's good. Have you tried it?
I haven't yet. I tried double Gav so real quick, Nathan. So I tried double Gav like a couple of years ago, or was it a couple of years ago? It was like last year, and the APOC and Justin Kramer, who just won Worlds, and Trent have all been giving me crap about it since, because they're like, quit trying to make fetch work, Brian.
But tell them they're full of it, dude. Okay. I think the Gav's great. Here's my pitch. Okay. The offense, if you put the Hammers pilot on and you put door gunners, name me any other vehicle in the game that has that much like offensive output.
Wheelos.
No, because Wheelos don't surge. So
it doesn't matter. They get a frenzied gunner on both the attacks.
The frenzied gunner is only about as good as surging is, and I don't think their main pool as good as a Gav's.
It's bigger.
It's bigger, but is it better? They don't surge, and they got a lot of white dice in there. I think I don't actually know this off the top of my head. I'm going to look now just because.
Yeah, how many dice are we talking about? Because
it's a lot.
Enough with it.
It's a lot.
No, for the Gav.
Frenzied gunner's definitely good. The Gav, let's do Hammers pilot Gav. RTC, door gunner. Okay. So the Gav's throwing double rainbow plus a red and a white. So you're talking
is that all?
Yeah, I mean it's 8 dice, but it's surging and you got 3 reds in there.
That's already less than a Saber Tank.
That's 5. Well, okay, Saber. Okay. Actually, if there's someone that beats it, Saber Tank with beam, possibly, because
Well, even just the main shot on a Saber is 4 red, 2 black, 2 white. So it's double rainbow with 2 red, and then 2 more red for each.
Yeah, it's like the main shot slightly better.
Yep.
And then that's true. You make a good point on the Saber Tank because the beam would push it over the top. The Gav gets door gunners.
Yep.
You're talking about its main like shot. I'm going to shoot you with my big things, and then I'm going to shoot you again with door gunners, because then door gunners adds another. So Saber Tank or Gav Tank without any aims is going to average 7 hits without any aims
across all.
I guess that's kind of like what an AAT does if it barrages.
Oh, and so you're including the door gunner in this hits.
Yeah, because A, it has access to the door gunner, which not all vehicles do, and B, it surges. Which, how many things actually surge with the door gunner?
Not very many.
Snail, maybe.
I don't think any of them do, because the lat doesn't.
A5 doesn't.
The bus doesn't.
It's just Gav and Snail, but not the experimental droid snail, just the regular snail.
But the Wheelo, Nathan, is 5 black, 4 white, and a red. And that's just the range 1 to 2 attack
Okay, 5 black, 2.5, 3.5,
I see.
4.25. You're gonna average. Let's
But
be
you're
honest.
And
Say
non-surging.
adds a 0.5. I don't know, man. The Wheelo, even if you add in the frenzied gunner, I'm getting that it averages less output than the Gav Tank. And the Wheelo has to be at range 2 to get its full power.
So does the
So
Gav.
does the Gav to get the door gunners.
Saber
But
does not.
it has a really strong range 4 shot, and the Wheelo doesn't have anything till it gets to range 3.
It doesn't need a range 4. It gets so far across the table so fast.
Well, round 1, there's a difference between range 3 and range 4 on round
You're
1
right.
for sure.
You're right.
I'm not saying the Wheelo is bad. I'm just saying the Gav hate needs to stop. Gav hate does a lot of damage. The weak point is rough, but it's got red saves. And Veers can give it a standby. Nobody can give a Wheelo a standby every round.
Right.
But Veers
That's
give. So I think tell Trent, you know what you need to do is just freaking play APOC with his pirates. Run Thrawn and Veers and
That's-
2 Gav tanks, and then when the pirates try to come in, just have Veers put a standby on the Gav, and you try to get your pirates in, they're dead. They're dead. And then you try to get another one, Thrawn 2-pip. Because you can use that on vehicles.
Yes, you can.
Pirates are dead. You didn't get your dodge from Swashbuckler because you didn't have a chance to attack.
It is important to note that if you're going to use a standby or Thrawn 2-pip with the Gav, you do not get the door gunner shot because the door gunner does have to be during its activation.
Correct. No door gunners.
But
You get them
I think there could be play there. I haven't tested it out yet, but that is my dream to try to test that out. To try to make something cool like that work. And yes, I do own 2 Gavs.
I know we're kind of off tangent. You're talking about gas. I'm going to give you one more pitch, Brian. Here's like a real Brian Baer pitch because this is real zany, but I don't think it's actually bad. You take a Gav, you give it Weiss, so it gets Arsenal 2. So then instead of the Hammer's pilot giving it Surge, you get another gun. So your door gunner's attack is going to be slightly weaker, but your main attack is going to be stronger. And then off of a standby, you have Arsenal 4. So you can use all 4 weapons.
Doesn't Weiss tap though?
Nope.
He doesn't tap anymore?
Nope. Weiss just gives you Arsenal 2 and field command.
What 4 weapons do you even have?
So you take the Gav's got a range 4.
Yeah,
it's got a
2
native
guns.
range 2. You give it the extra hard point and then the door gunners. So it can actually use
the door gunner.
all 4 off of a standby or Thrawn 2-pip if you take Weiss.
I guess I never really thought of the door gunner as a weapon, but it is.
It's a regular weapon that you
Yeah.
can use with Arsenal if you have enough Arsenal available.
Yeah.
Whoa, I did not consider that.
See? Yeah.
See? The
Glad I'm
Gav
not the only
hate
one.
needs to stop. The Gav hate needs to stop. That's
All right.
that's the true lesson of this podcast. I don't care what it was about before. It's now about how the Gav hate needs to stop. I'm done. I rest my peace.
Wait, and you did understand that you don't get to do the door gunner twice, right?
You don't get to do
With
it
Arsenal
twice, but
No,
you can use
okay.
it. You can use it
Yeah.
in the Arsenal 4 though, which you wouldn't be able to off of a standby originally.
Right. Arsenal 4 lets you use it in standby. I'm with you. Okay. Yeah.
In a
That's the
normal attack,
benefit.
I would not even use Arsenal 4. I would use Arsenal 3, and then I would get a second attack with the door gunners just to double up on suppression. Assuming they don't have like a nimble dodge or armor or some sort or low profile, right? Assuming there's no like weird repeating defensive tech. I would split up the attack into 2 anyway. But because you can combine them all into 1, it works off of standby.
So the question would be then, Nathan, if it's worth it, or there's 2 questions. One, is it worth it to lose the surges on however many dice that is, 15, 20 dice, to gain what's the net gain? 1 door gunner attack and 1 hard point attack, non-surging.
So
it's comparing those to all the
suppressive.
surges.
So as far as total damage output, let's say you roll up your Gav and you have someone in the door gunner shot and you compare Hammer's pilot with the 2 guns and then a separate door gunner shot.
Yes.
Versus Gav pilot with Weiss and 3 weapons, and then a door gunner shot, no surge.
Yes.
That the Weiss one comes out slightly behind, like 0.25 average hits behind, but it's suppressive.
It's a whole quarter of a hit. I'm out.
I mean, it's one non-surging white, but it's suppressive. But then the standby shot is significantly stronger.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
The standby shot's better.
Standby only if you can get them all on point, right? Because they have to be splitting the line.
Yes, you have to be getting them in the front arc and the side arc. Although it's worth mentioning that with Thrawn's 2-pip, unlike a standby, you don't have to shoot the thing that activated.
Okay. Yeah.
So with Thrawn specifically, you can shoot them with your main thing and just using your Arsenal 4. You can direct 3 guns into the thing that went and then have your door gunner shoot something else just using your Arsenal 4.
Gotcha.
All right. Back to our topic of payload.
No, this is the Gav Tank episode now.
Right.
Hey, Gavs are good at payload. That's the point. Gavs are good at payload.
Yeah. So vehicles in general, great at payload. They can. I love being able to. One thing that APOC did really good is that he moved one of his pirate wheelos in to block my POI from getting into his deployment at the end of the game, which would have given me a solid 2 points that I wanted, and it was very well played. And so those are things. Those are things that you can do with vehicles that are unique.
And those long vehicles, the wheelo. Well, I don't know for sure the dimensions on the wheelo, but I know the bus and the snail. They are wider than the half range movement. So you're not.
Yeah.
You if this thing's parked sideways in front of you, it's got to die.
Yep. Yeah, and the wheelo's base is the same as a snail tank, which is I think an inch longer than the buses.
Yeah, I probably have it written down.
Or like a half inch longer. It's bigger than the buses.
Okay.
Well, it's not even the length that matters.
The width,
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm saying if you just park it horizontally in front of the POI, right? The 3 inches, because you need to.
You have to make it all the way across.
Right. The POI moves 5 inches when you move it, but 2 of that is taken up. So it's like going from the back to the front, right? It's only 3 inches. So, and that's wider than 3 inches. So if you try to move across, the back of the POI would be clipping the vehicle, which is not allowed.
Yeah, I've got written down almost or about an inch longer for the snail.
Dang.
But the exact same width.
Yeah.
The snail and the AA5.
So those kinds of things are hot. Aggressive lists are really hot, in my opinion. Lists that like to be in melee. Or units that have things. I think things like whipcord or any sort of immobilized tokens are going to be a big deal on this kind of objective. Anytime that you're pushing a POI that wants to move, that your units are going to want to move to follow a POI, immobilized tokens are going to be a big deal. So Sabine could have a lot of play here. Boba Fett, as sad as it is, Boba Fett doesn't really have a lot of play in the game right now, but there is a use for him here. There's a use for like an Amban rifle. I would love to see Cad Bane return to this game. And with some of these new objectives, he may have a little bit more play, but it's still going to be hard because you need order control in order to get the most out of him. And that's really difficult. I think the only way you'll see him is in a CIS list.
Yeah, they can still reverse sort pretty well.
Yeah. But I mean, those kinds of shenanigans with immobilizing is really, really powerful. So
John was talking at the beginning about Jedi. I want to come back to that. I think I agree with your assessment, John. I think Jedi are more powerful on this one than they are on your average objective. And so I was curious why you highlighted Jedi.
At least two. So force push for at least 2 reasons. One, force push changing or removing a unit without having to kill the unit from the objective. But also force push, even better if your opponent has big squads, force pushing to block the POI from moving where it wants to move. It is not hard to block that thing. You know where it wants to go, and like now it can't. You know.
Yeah,
That's my favorite thing to do is when I see Ewok spam and I have force push. Now I'm like, oh, your super squads, they are now my tools. They aren't yours anymore.
Yes, exactly.
And it's worth noting it's something you can do with your own units, on your own. If you think if your opponent's trying to push into your zone and maybe you've just got like a guy back there that's just a dude being a distraction, you know, he's not going to win the point. But you could be like, well, I can just spread out my cohesion and stand where I think you're going to want to move, and it could cost him a turn.
Absolutely.
Which could be a 2 victory point swing.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, I forgot what I was going to ask. Apparently it wasn't that important. I had a profound thought that I was going to ask the panel, and then
I don't believe it.
No.
I have them occasionally.
Excellent doubt.
So one thing that I found is occasionally I try to play objectives like hyper aggressive and risky because I want to push. I want to see what's possible, right? And so there's times where I have played like a breakthrough objective where I have just abandoned one side just because I want to see if this is possible. And there's been a couple of times where it's worked out. Majority of the time, no. And so I will tell you that I wanted to see in this game that I played against Ryan. I wanted to see if I could just really front load my left side and just push that all the way in and kind of ignore my far side, the one that he has to push. And that is excessively risky. I would not advise that. It's possible, but the chances of that being successful seems pretty low, in my opinion. I really like to stretch it, and I think it's just too risky.
So you're referring to the vanilla that we talked about, the 101, the push your home to their opposite side and they push their home to your side, right?
Yeah. But
what's risky about that?
Well, I went really I think you need something to block, because if things don't go your way, if something happens and you don't kill something, or you expect a Wheelo to die with an impact 6 shot with only 2 lives left and it decides not to die.
Better.
Right. So sometimes that kind of thing happens. And if when that happens, you want to make sure that you have some sort of failsafe to keep them out of your deployment zone. You got to have something to be able to do that. And so like in our game, I had a play at the end of the game that I almost got, that I really wanted to. And this kind of can play into like, when you're losing a game, don't give up, because there's still an option. So in this circumstance, he had just a pirate squad on my POI that was, on his POI that he was pushing across the board, and he needed to push it one more time to get it into my deployment zone. And he only had a pirate squad on there, and his Wheelo tank that had his raiding party leader was further than range 3 away from these guys. And so I didn't have a whole lot of long range to be able to get to it, but Lando was able to double move, and he was, to be honest, guys, he was about an inch short of being able to shoot at those guys with his steady shot. If I had an aim, it would be fine, but he needed to double move. And so I wasn't able to get that suppression off. But then I have a this is crazy. I have a 7-man sleeper unit with the marksman.
Okay.
Because I like having a 7-man unit hop out of a bus at the end of round 1 and then blast something, and then you HQ them with Han's 0 pip, but then pop them back behind the bus.
Really?
Anyways, it's a strategy that I have seen employed. It's an old strategy, but it checks out.
First lasting.
But anyway, so if I could have got that shot with Lando, I had a play where I was going to come up onto the rock. I mean, the game was over at this point. We talked through it, and I told him about the idea of like moving up onto the rock and taking that sniper shot on his pirates to put that second suppression on him. And he was like, "Well, roll it, see if it'll work." And I rolled it, and I rolled a surge, and that would have given him a second suppression. They would not have been able to not only would they would not have pushed it into my deployment zone, they wouldn't have even scored it because they'd have been panicked. If Lando could have got that shot, which he didn't. But those are things that you want to look for. Like, is there any way that I can get this? Can I, like, there's no way I'm going to kill that unit, but can I suppress that unit to, or panic that unit to where he's not going to move that POI into my deployment zone? And all of a sudden, a for sure loss is going to go into into the 5th round instead of me losing on the 4th round. And now the game's back in a possible realm instead of I'm losing realm.
So can I talk about a few units that I think are really great in this role that you're describing?
Sure.
As something that's just sitting kind of, if we go back to the picture, like imagine you're deploying at the beginning of the game and there's something that you just kind of put like on your far right side here as like a receiving party, basically.
Yeah.
You're not really there's a cost because you're not getting to the middle or your left the whole game, but you've got this receiving party here just waiting to sort of muck up your opponent a bit. I think good candidates for this are primarily things that are, and every faction has options for this, cheap units that aren't powerhouse units, but that punch above their weight. So examples would be like naked scout troopers in Empire or Ewok slingers in Rebels. They're not powerhouse units. You're not going to send a naked scout off into the middle to like win the middle, right? It's not strong enough. But if your opponent only has like one naked core over there, and if they're coming towards you, a naked scout is going to destroy any naked core trooper like in a firefight, right? They punch above their weight. Same with like slingers. I think Padme from Gar is a good one. She's like 52 points. So you're not losing that much if you chuck her up in the corner, but now your opponent's like, oh, I can't just push it with my one pirate squad because, you know, Padme can actually like with like nimble and agile, and she's got like a fairly consistent gun. I'm actually not going to be able to guarantee that I can instantly clobber her in a 1v1. Like I got to dedicate 2 units over there. That's a pain. And maybe that second, and so now, you know, they've are maybe increasing an imbalance on their side. So some kind of a fluff unit. And I say every faction has these now because, you know, what everybody has? Strike teams.
Strike teams.
I think strike teams are fantastic in this kind of role because
Shadow Collective.
Yeah, it's true. Shadow Collective. But they Shadow
Hashtag not a faction.
Pirates, so we were just talking about. So Shadow Collective. Right. Well, they also have Maul, who I think is for the aggressive strategy we were talking about, where you gun it for your opponents. Ooh, Maul is muy scary.
Infiltrate, double move.
Infiltrate, double move, and then choke, push, slash. He's a madman.
Yeah.
A madman. But anyway, I think strike teams are great for this because they're one of the things that can sit there. They can be a receiving party. And now if I like try to push my thing with just one naked rebel core, guess what the strike team just does all game? Plink, 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 suppressing it, taking off the bodies. It's going to be dead by the time they get your POI to you.
Yeah.
And if let's say they don't want to be doing that, they could also be shooting the middle. So they're still contributing even while they're just waiting back.
On that vein, like I do want to iterate that you probably want to hang in this middle ground between the middle and that far one that you're defending, and not here and over here where you're so far removed from the middle.
I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm. Because it's also because then they serve as a dual contingency.
Yes.
Right? They serve as
a backup rather than committing.
Yes, right. If their opponent's pushing towards you, you can have them run this way. But also, if you unexpectedly lose control of the middle early and you need to take it back, they can also serve that function. Totally agree.
And closer for courage bubbles and for token sharing or any number of reasons.
Yeah.
I generally would not suggest taking something that's courage 1 and ever putting it out on a thing by itself for the exact situation Brian just described a moment ago. So like you got Ewok slingers, for example, you definitely make sure they're a little bit closer to that middle and make sure you've got a commander that's like also on that side. And right, because Ewok slingers, even though they are efficient out on a quarter, you need to make sure they're not so far out in the corner that a single a single mortar shot has them panicked, or a single sniper shot more likely, right? It's going to have them panicked.
Right.
Yeah, going back to the strategy of wanting to be hyper aggressive, one thing that you want to make sure this with these deployments that are all the way across the board edge, don't forget that you can come in like this with your units. If you want to be hyper aggressive and you want to come in from this side, like you got some units that can get to right here and then get to here. Like you can come in all the way up here instead of coming all the way across here. This long distance, we can cut it a little bit.
Yeah, you almost net an entire speed 2 move by coming in on the side.
Yeah,
it's like it's a baby infiltrate almost.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to try the aggressive strategy, this is where I would put put a lot of units, like units that have scout. You want to do something like that.
The hard part about that is
especially if they have like a building here or something where you can get safely. Yeah.
As soon as you do that, that is a hard committed unit. That unit is not helping the middle. It's not helping anyone else.
Yeah. And that's part of the risky play of wanting to be aggressive there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not always even about succeeding. Again, if the thing you put over there is something that's cheap but punches above its weight, you're forcing your opponent to divert more to that side. And so maybe what they've got is like 70-point units, right? And so then they put 1 70-point unit on that side ready to push. You kind of hard commit your 48-point scout trooper. Well, it's a little bit risky to guarantee that your 70-point unit's definitely going to successfully 1v1 the scout trooper without tying the thing once, which is enough.
You're a little called out there, Nathan, but
for like, I guess
all my units are 80 plus points.
Yeah, this is for you, John. Learn this. No, but like,
so for my tank list, what I would be doing, to keep mine safe, I would have one tank right here shooting everything it can.
For audio listeners, he's talking about between his objective in the middle. Sorry.
Yeah, between his near side in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then both the other tanks would probably sit in between the middle and my opponents to be able to flex to either body block either.
Yeah, body block.
And range 4 shoots everything.
Yeah.
These tanks will shoot everything they want.
And they're so fast that they could easily move onto that middle if that's where the scrum is.
It's less than a move. They could strafe onto it, kind of thing. Like
that's really good. Okay, I remembered the profound thought I had earlier, and I think it's a legit. On this objective, how crucial is it to be? Let's assume we're in the 101 or 102 options. Okay. So let's forget them. Let's assume both players are being pretty cagey and smart about protecting their home points, and it's about the middle. How crucial is it to be the first one to get it?
Depends on the secondary, right?
That's true. Let's just expound on that. What do you mean by depends on the secondary? Give some examples.
So in like a 5-round game, if all 5 rounds get played, then it doesn't matter who gets it first, because assuming you just toss it back and forth, then someone's going to get it round 2 and 4. Someone's going to get it round 3 and 5. You've both gotten 2 victory points only from controlling the middle, like when all things are equal. But the time where it can matter is if the secondary pushes that 2nd and 4th score to 12 before round 5 hits.
That is okay. So that is a great observation. If you're counting on some sort of a catch up, but you run out of time, that's a great observation.
Yeah, it also depends on infiltrating units, right? Because if you have, I feel like you're going to have more offensive firepower if you don't win it round the first time.
You're like saying the effect, but the cause would be because you're not moving on to the point and you're focusing on shooting.
Right.
Then yes, you've spent more time shooting And ideally that leads to more attrition and better attrition. And then you could take it after that and maybe even take it more rounds than just tossing it back and forth.
Personally, like for like something like shifting priorities, I love shifting. It's one of my absolute favorites, and I have no problems going down 3-2 on round 2. Like zero problem with that.
Now, I think though I want to push back on you guys a little bit, because unlike shifting, where if I sit back and I purposefully punt on the middle, I choose to go down 3-2, I get to choose where to move the middle.
That's true.
This objective is not like that. You have
that's a good point. So you definitely want to win it round 2.
Move the middle. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I think if you try to punt and you assume, oh, well, it's just going to ping pong back and forth, we all win on attrition. I think a smart player is going to realize that that's your plan, and they're going to do the 102 situation where they're going to drag it to the left.
Yeah.
And if you're not fast enough, like let's say you're a static gun line, let's say you're something like Remnant. Remnant's got the Dark Troopers. I don't know. Let's say you're just generally a bit of a slower list. You don't have a ton of speeders. You got stuff that shoots real well, and you got lots of range, but that's low on the mobility. Okay. You can drag it. You don't even have to go directly left. You can drag it a little bit this way. Now, again, risky. And by the way, for the listeners, you can sort of not even just drag it directly to your left. You can even drag it towards yourself a little bit, right? You want to space it. If you're range 1 away from your zone, you're going to be more than 1 push away from your zone. So you want to keep it at least that distance. You don't want to be moving it so much that you're lessening the number of pushes to get in your zone, but you can still back it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Within that, and just be pushing it further away from your opponent. So I say this because if I'm the gun line guy and I'm like, I'm going to go down, I'm going to let my opponent take the middle. I'm going to stand there with my, my stormtroopers or my death troopers or my clones or whatever my static shooting block is. And I'm like, awesome. I killed like 2 of my opponent's units and they didn't kill anything on me. And now they're going to send the POA back toward me. And then they send it the other way. Uh-oh. Now my opponent just has this point that they can farm and they can keep running away with all game. And sure, they're never going to push it to my side, but I push my victory point. Right. And now they're netting
still 4 victory points across the game
every round. Yeah. So if you're punting on that, or it spirals out of your control and you're starting to see that it's going to start to go that way, your opponent's going to get it round 1. You need to have a plan to aggressively be able to chase down that POI and steal it back. Because if you're like a gun line, right, and you're like, well, I'm giving up instead of double moving onto the point, I'm moving and I'm shooting. Well, guess what? Every time the POI is going to be 2 moves away from you, and so now you're always having to move and shoot, and you're never scoring it, right? Yeah. So it's like you got to have something that can really fly after it, some dewbacks or some bark speeders, or like something that can complement your guys. I think generally this is why just super static gun lines just generally aren't super strong anyways, is for this reason. But like you got to have a plan for that. I think assuming your opponent's going to ping pong, if that's going to work in your favor, assume your opponent's not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
I told you guys it was a good thought.
It's okay. B+.
B+.
Dang it. I'll bring my A- thoughts next time.
There you go. Small improvements. Brian, didn't you have a list that you really liked for this?
Yeah. So I mean, it is a classic Brian Baer list, right? So I love my buses. I love my op Luke, and so it is. It's op Luke, and I know that I get flack for it. I still like R2. If I'm running buses and I want to keep my buses alive, R2 with the HQ is pretty fantastic if they've got a lot of anti-armor.
With HQ? That's so expensive.
Yeah, I know. I don't care.
Wait, can you post this in our Discord so we can see it as you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me
See if I could get it even on our little screen here on the fly.
Yeah, give me just a second here. It's 14 activations. Let's copy
Of course
this.
it is.
He's playing Rebels.
There you go.
Cheating.
Yeah. So it's 14 activations. We've got Luke Skywalker with burst of speed, force push, mind trick, tenacity. Because I like tenacity on him instead of into the fray if I'm running double buses, because I can generally keep him pretty safe. And I like when Luke can just kill things. And when you have an aimed up Luke with tenacity, it feels great. So I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm cool with that too. I also have 4 fleet troopers. 3 of them have astromechs because I like keeping my buses alive. One of them is just a naked fleet trooper. I have 3 rebel commandos with proton saboteurs and the droid poppers, which I like that unit. It's a great unit for, what is that? That's 56, 57, 58, 59 points. 59 points. If it's a healthy unit and they are running up with a tank, you can pop out, throw, what was it? It's 5 reds, a white, and a black. Impact 6. And surge a hit, impact 6 with the ion token. Yeah.
That's another one, not to interrupt, but that's another one that's good for, we were talking about having a cheap, something cheap that punches above its weight, that just like sits as a receiving party waiting for your opponents. This is another one. You just like take one of them and you throw them like behind a rock in your bottom right corner, and you just sit there and you wait for your opponent to move to range one of you, and you're like, surprise.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah, so that's 59 points. It's 5 bodies with low profile. It's 3 points more than a Gar naked core unit. Sorry, Mike Berry. Then we've got triple snipers, strike teams. I like the strike teams. They're very, very good. I like them when you can keep them safe. I don't always shoot with them round 1. There's a lot of times where I move and stand by because I want to pick my shots appropriately, and I just don't want them to get deleted, which strike teams will get deleted if your opponent has a way to be able to get them in sight. So playing with them carefully, I think if you don't shoot with them round 1 and you just use them later on in the game, they become more and more problematic because your opponent later, as the late game goes, the longer it goes, the harder time that they have sacrificing attacks to just eliminate 2 units.
You don't like the shoot round 1 and then hide?
That's good too. It depends. It depends on what if I'm going to want them on a POI for later, that my opponent's going to want to try to push them off.
Is incognito? It's incognito still prevents you from being able to contribute, right? Okay.
No, they can't score it, but even just standing on one, I can, when I activate them, I can just say incognito's gone, and so yeah, you can still just having them be there can cause problems.
Can you just say your incognito's gone, or you have to shoot?
No, start of your activation, you can do start of that unit's activation. They can drop their incognito.
Oh.
I did have this come up not too long ago, so it's
like
fresh.
That just like standing up and shouting their position at the opponent.
Here we are.
I'm over here.
Shoot, but I want you to know I'm over here.
Look up here.
Look over here.
I would say thematically, the idea that you have, I know there's potentially balance issues. I think these guys might be too cheap, but I will say thematically, the idea of you're sitting there, your snipers are laying there in prepared positions that are covering leaves, and then they shoot, and now your opponent's like, it's over there. I see him now.
I love it.
It is really cool.
It feels great.
They see the muzzle flash, and it's like, found them.
I was playing with my brother-in-law the other day. He's played with me like he loves Star Wars, but he's not into the game. But every couple months he'll come over and he'll play a game, and Anyway, I caught him up on the strike teams. I gave him a list of some strike teams. I told him the works. He's like, "That's so cool." When I just like explained the mechanic and how they have incognito, he's like, "That's really awesome." Like,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
It is really awesome.
They
I
did
would,
really
love for
nail
them,
that one.
I would love for them to not be able to affect immune pierce units.
Yeah.
I personally would love to see that change. But other than that, fantastic. Anyway, so I've got the triple snipers. Then we've got my AA5 speeder truck. We've got both of them have the quad laser. They both have unorthodox tactician. One of them has the onboard comms. And then my wedge bus has the HQ uplink. I love comboing wedge with HQ because when you recover, you get them both back. And so I like this list for a number of reasons. I love the Rebel Commandos being able, like what we said, be kind of like a back cap protector. They're the guys that can just hide and then just pop out at the end and be like, "You're not going to score this POI, grenade." And then I love the buses that can push. I love aiming up Luke. I love the fleets that double move. My favorite thing is fleets that move, get into melee, charge, and heal a bus on their way. Feels fantastic.
A lot of value from that activation.
So good.
From that 48 points.
Yeah.
Now, do you play this with Luke aggressively and go for the enemy one early push?
I think I could.
Try and win the middle.
I think it depends on what we're seeing on the opponent side. This list has a lot of really good impact if I'm at close ranges. That's the only time that I have really great impact. The quad guns aren't super reliable for impact damage. And so if my opponent's going to be in my face, then this list is great against armor. I would not say that this list is always great against armor. Lats would be super annoying because they're just like, hey,
range one and
cool
melee.
All those aims on Luke can't do anything. Oh, those commandos with their cool saboteur. No, they can't do anything either.
Just the poor quad gun.
Right.
The quad guns with the snipers might make pretty good work of a lat.
See, and that's
impact too, though, right?
That's the idea, is to be able to combo that. Is that we can soften up some targets or finish off some targets.
6 non-surging black dice, and then impact 2.
Yeah. Snipers also feel real great into units that Luke, because Luke leaves stragglers everywhere, right? So he'll double move into something, blast them, leave like 1 or 2 models, and then walk away and then go kill something else. And snipers just are like, oh, he left another one for us, boys. Let's get him.
Meat's back on the menu.
That's right.
He doesn't have force choke, so he's letting his strike team borrow a long range force choke.
Yeah.
Just to kill those single
force choke for Op Luke win. He did it in the movies.
I know. Okay, actually though, Luke would be a problem with force choke.
No.
If Luke had force choke, I think he'd be top 2. Because you just drop mind trick. Let's be honest, mind trick is not that. Mind trick's good. No. It's not that essential to this kit. You got force choke. That would be crazy. I honestly would love it. I would love.
I would love it. I don't think it'd be crazy. I think top tier players would get a lot of value out of it. I don't think it would. I still don't think you would see.
I'd get 5 wounds out of it. That's what I'd get.
I think even guys like you would get value out of it.
Dang. Wow.
Listen. Okay. If I wanted this sound of abuse, I'd just go back to my chat with APOC, Trent, and freaking Justin.
Okay, well, we already established those guys don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Run your Gav Tank list, destroy them, and then you can mock them mercilessly for their years. You'll have years of receipts. You can be like, "Is this you talking stupid? Is this you?"
Oh man.
The problem is, Nathan, I just am not a great TTS player, and so I play with them all the time, and they just all beat me. I just can't do it on TTS. I don't know why.
In TTS, it's harder to slide.
Common excuse
on your dice on the computer. Mm. Harder to palm the order token you want.
It keeps me humble. True. It's good. It's good to get beat up that often.
All right. Well, I like your list, Brian. I think, we were talking about payload. I think this does have a lot of the hallmarks of a solid payload list. I think this is an example of the kind of thing where I think you would totally be happy taking payload in your deck for this list. You've got a good receiving party. You've got some aggressive options to go take the middle early if you want, which we've talked about can be pretty critical. You've got a lot of naked bodies that you can just run up onto points early and score aggressively and drive that thing. And then you've got the buses for the body blocking, and you've got 50 extra wounds to make them body block 1 round longer. So
do you ever do the want to put one of the speeder trucks in the middle, have a commando with saboteur inside it, transport it out, and jump in front of it to get a super early aggressive commando placement?
I could if I feel like I could get that commando safe.
Yeah.
Into a position that they're safe, then I would say yes.
Terrain
Otherwise,
for sure.
I don't think that they're going to get that kind of value out of one attack. I want them to be able to get. Not. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe
you just
they
have
do,
3 of them, right? Like you don't need 3 of them on the receiving party. That's excessive.
No. Yeah, not on the receiving party, but they can be good for the buses are going to draw so much fire in the early rounds, right? So then when it turns into a big scrum over the middle, now those guys are already there and their opponent's trying to contest, and these guys are like, boom, if you're close enough to contest, you're close enough for me to nuke you.
That's right, yeah.
Because you're not going to get her, even if you go max aggro with them out of the bus, a smart opponent is not going to let you get a range 1 shot from them on the first round. That sounds a little that sounds like it sounds a little dismissive. I'd say
you're right. It's hard enough to get like a range 2 from that tactic, right?
Yeah, like range 2 is a lot more manageable because it's like you got like a beyond a range 5 threat range from your board edge, and it's like it is a little bit hard to keep your entire army behind range 1 and still be like playing the game. So that one's like a little bit easier to push, but range 1. You're looking like a little more than range 4 threat range probably, and that's very easy to avoid. Yeah, in all except in very few situations, I would say is a good player going to allow you to get that shot.
It was just a thought, okay? Jeez, Nathan.
that was my thought. Your thought was a C+ at best.
Hey, C's get degrees. All right.
But one thing, so the saboteur and the ion grenade are they're both kind of like they're just hedges, right? So the real value out of this is the 5 black dice at range 3 that surge to hit and have sharpshooter, because sharpshooter with that low of a dice pool, you're getting hits through. Like they're just going to be causing saves, and if you can. I mean, these guys have scout. When you scout and you move and you have a range 3 shot, all of a sudden, like a hidden mall behind some rocks, is rolling 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky, saves.
I guess it is still cheaper than a ATRT rotary that throws the same dice
with no sharpshooter,
but surge crit.
Yeah,
I would take sharpshooter honestly. Yeah. I'd have to math that out. But I think
better defense.
So I mean,
definitely ATRT is better defense and it's faster.
Yeah.
That range 3 poke gets annoying when you get if you can get 15 of those shots a game. That gets painful.
Yeah, like 5 surging black dice. I mean, that's probably, even without ever getting to range 1, that's probably as good, if not better, than the offense on most units in the game that are below 60 points.
Yep.
Not all, but probably most.
Yeah.
I mean, you're mostly cheaper than.
It just feels like such a small die pool that like I don't really care about it. Like, it's
though,
good.
With sharpshooter and surging black.
Yeah. The sharpshooter makes you care about it a little bit. If you're rolling 3 saves at that on round 1. And you're losing a clone and a half. That's still annoying.
Sharpshooter scales with bigger die pools, though, right?
It does.
It does, but this is a smaller die pool.
Yeah,
right. So it doesn't. It's not as much value as sharpshooter on a big die pool.
No,
No, it's not.
No,
even
no,
about
better.
it. It's just about the consistency, though. I think like you're with 5 surging black dice and sharp, you're very rarely not forcing saves.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like it's pretty good for a unit that's that cheap. Like I think mathematically,
No, it's good for the value. Sure, I'm not denying that. That's fine.
Why are you saying it's bad, John? Tell us about that.
I don't like it. Not that I don't like it. I like my big 150 point units. You know.
Yeah, you do.
For what it's worth, I'm with you. I'm definitely a connoisseur of like
it's no 22 dice.
Yeah, I love making big die pools and like charging them with aims.
And then watching them blink. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but that's what the aims are for.
That's just more blinks.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's happened sometimes. My snow super squads do that to me sometimes. My death troopers do not. My death troopers soar, but that's okay.
As they should. Well, I think we're probably covered all of our topics we wanted to hit today.
Yeah, so that's our deep dive into Payload. Next time, what are we focusing on next time, guys?
Oh man,
let's keep them waiting.
Here. Yeah,
keep them waiting. All right.
I think we can say it'll be another objective, and we'll pick another objective. Yeah. We may the non-new objectives, the old objectives have been covered on other channels before. I don't think that precludes us from discussing them again.
Oh no, because we weren't the ones discussing them. So they need a proper discussion, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, need a better one. But no, like there's more to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Right. With even the original objectives. So I think we'll probably continue to discuss the new objectives and kind of weave in retreading of old objectives, even though they've been discussed in a number of places already on different channels. I think we'll probably give our 2 cents, and we'll give our takes. So that's what I would assume you can look forward to next.
Yep. We plan on doing this, having an episode about every couple weeks. So kind of plan on us trying to be as consistent to that as we can. So, all right. This is the Nerf Herders. We're grateful that you're able to listen in, and hopefully you can get some sort of value out of our discussion. I'm Brian.
I'm Nathan.
I'm John Bushfax Bushman.
See you.